and it's exhilarating.
I've found more good Samaritans and more prodigal fathers and more wonderful servants out there in the queer community. And I was amazed when I first started meeting other queer folks that they didn't have this dogmatic view of the world where every
Hmm.
question was trying to figure out, what did I believe? I could just say, I don't know what I make about this religion or this gay thing, and they could just sit there with me versus in some churches, you sit down in a pew and they start trying to figure out what you believe and then working you to their worldview. Versus in the queer community, there's so much space for just, I don't know, I'm just figuring things out. I don't know what to call myself. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what I make of all of this. I'm just here, and people will accept you right where you are and answer questions. But without this, I got to make you, and I have all these perfect apologetic arguments about the 3 steps, or whatever, queer theology. It's just
Yep.
people will sit with you in the queer community is something that just floored me versus in the Christian world.
Yeah. And the freedom of just not having to have it all figured out it's the best. I mean, it's truly
Yeah.
liberating because, again, you don't have it all figured out when you're a fundamentalist. You think you do, but when you have to keep denying science that you see everybody else in the world around you is believing in, and you just have to keep demanding that Genesis says the earth is 6,000 years old, like, that's just not a good space for your mind. It's not a good space for your soul. And I feel like most fundamentalists know that and feel that, which is why they respond with the fear that you were talking about earlier and the vitriol that they have, because they're so vulnerable, because it's a foundation built on sand.
I like your language of calling some of these queer spaces sacred, in that they became special places for me where I could say the words out loud, I'm gay, and not have to worry about 75% or 50% or 25% or some random person hating me for that. Unlike in some Christian spaces where you're so worried and you spend your whole life, your body's trying to figure out, what will people think? And will I be in danger? What will they think? Versus in queer spaces, it's nice to, it's a refreshing environment where everybody there has a similar story, that you know how everybody's going to react, and you saying I'm gay is the most normal thing about the entire night or about people's life experiences, and you get to move on versus
Yeah.
kind of being scared of your own shadow, like in many Christian spaces. Maybe another question here is, for people that retain their faith, especially those that are starting to date or are starting to even start families, how should they go about navigating this faith that they want to belong to, where a certain percent is always going to disagree with them? How do they keep themselves, their partner, their kids safe in a religion that's kind of divided on this issue?